Hi guys, just wanted to do another video. So for those of you who've been following me already, or you've watched my thank you during rider video, you've probably got quite a good idea of some of the benefits I've had on a vegan diet. But what I wanted to do is I just wanted to make one video where I'd sort of amalgamate all of them into one video and give you an idea of how I benefited. And I just tried to write down some ideas on how I have benefited, because I didn't want to just reel them off the top of my head and miss any. So I've got about 11 here so far. What I would say is don't necessarily treat this as a definitive list for me personally, because I'm sure there's probably one or two I've missed. So what I'll do is I'll just start on the first one then. So first benefit from a vegan diet, so insulin sensitivity. So for those of you watching this who are diabetic, whether you're type 1 or type 2, one of the best things you can do to help your condition is go vegan. High carb, plant-based vegan. What it'll do is it will maximize the sensitivity of insulin in your body, because what happens is when you go vegan, you clear out all of the fat that's in your body from the animal products, as well as different chemicals that basically inhibit and stop insulin from doing its job properly. And as a result of that, what you can do is you can actually cut your insulin by up to 2/3 just by going vegan, because what happens is you become more sensitive and you need less, and what happens is you get less lows, you get less highs, you get better blood sugar control, and you get a better HbA1c while eating more carbs. So if you're watching this and you're diabetic, whether you're type 1 or type 2, never be scared of carbs, never be scared of veganism. Go vegan, you'll notice benefits. I don't care who you are, you will notice it. Number two, second benefit of eating a vegan diet is I can eat as much as I want now. So before I went vegan, I used to be scared of like food or calories. I'd always think, oh, if I eat too much, I'm going to get fat. Now I'm on a vegan diet, I can eat as much as I want, and I don't have to worry about putting weight on. So when I first went vegan in November 2014, I was about 14 stone, which is about like 190 pounds or so. To be fair, part of that weight was because I'd essentially starved myself before then, because I was undiagnosed with type 1 diabetes for so long. I lost so much weight. So whenever you starve yourself, whether intentionally or unintentionally, you will pile of pounds back on. So but since then, guys, I've lost about, let me see, about like 18 or 19 pounds, I think. So I was about 14 stone in November 2014, and I now weigh something like 12.7 stone. So that's roughly about 18 or 19 pounds. So by following June Ryder's advice, by going high carb, vegan, smashing in the carbs, not being scared of calories, I've actually lost weight. Now then, this is probably the first time in my life where I've ever found a diet where I can eat as much as I want, on a assuming it's vegan and it's plant-based, and never put weight on. Before then, I've always yo-yoed with my diet, been up, I've been down, whereas now I think this is the first time I've ever seen myself lose weight while never caring about calories. When I eat meals now, I eat so much food, my plate is just piled high, and I just eat till I feel full. And it's amazing. I just lose weight, and this is the only diet I'd say where you can lose weight consistently while eating as much as you want on a vegan diet without having to do loads of exercise. Most of my weight I didn't really lose through cycling. I started cycling in February of this year. Haven't really done much since about the end of August, because the weather hasn't been too good where I've been living. And even though I kind of stopped cycling in August, I only cycled once or twice in September, I've still noticed my weight going down. So what I'd say to you, if you're watching this, if you ever want to lose weight, you don't have to achieve it by going out and doing tons of exercise. Diet is what is important. When I say diet, I really mean lifestyle. This is something you will do till the day you die. You will eat a high carb vegan diet till the day you die. It's not something you do for a while, then you go back to eating dead animals. It's something you want to do for the rest of your life, because of all of the health benefits. It's good for the animals, saves the animals, it's good for you, it's good for those around you, and it would stop 17,000 children dying every day. If we all went vegan, if every single person in the world went vegan, we'd have enough grain to feed every single starving person on the world and on the planet. Every day 17,000 children die because we eat animals. I'm kind of digressing now, because it's not really a main benefit. So That's it, guys. If you want to eat as much as you want and never put weight on and just want to lose weight, go vegan. And what I want to point out here is, from a long-term perspective, if you come from a background of caloric restriction or starvation and you start on this diet, you will initially put a few pounds on. That happened to me. I did put weight on at first when I went vegan, but ultimately though, what's happened is, even though my weight went up in the first couple of weeks or month or so, it then started to come down. So never focus on the short term, always focus on the long term. Long term is what matters. If you've come from a background of dieting and starving, and you start eating healthily for the first time, you're going to put weight on. And if you want to know more about that, Google Dr. Ansel Keys' The Biology of Human Starvation. Number 3, so I kind of got ahead of myself there. So number 3, I've got weight loss written down, so that's what I've just covered there. So got a bit ahead of myself. So like I said, guys, just then I've lost 19 pounds by following June Ryder's advice. Just carb up, eat as much as you want. Number 4, so energy. So ever since I've gone high carb vegan, it's almost like I'm doing speed or cocaine or something. I have energy. Before I went vegan, I was tired, I was dreary, I don't have the energy to do anything, and I was just a victim. Just get the carbs in, and I got the carbs in, and ever since then I just have energy. I can go out and do things. I started cycling because of June Rider in February this year, and I started cycling loads, and by the time I got to August, I wanted to smash 3 Strava challenges. So I think I did, what ones did we have in August? We had I think it's the base mile challenge, where you've got to cycle about 1,250 kilometers. You had to cycle 11,000 meters of elevation in the month, and there was a third one which I can't remember. But anyway, I did all 3 challenges, I think, in August, and so I basically cycled 800 miles plus in August, and I'd only been cycling for 6 months. Before I went vegan, I would not have had that energy, mentally or physically, because I was deprived of carbohydrates. If you want the energy to go out and do stuff, if you want the energy to live life, you need carbohydrates, you need sugar. You're not going to fuel yourself in life eating dead animals. So that's it, guys. If you want the energy to, care about other people, to care about things, if you want the energy to live your life to the max, get those carbs in you. Carbs are what we are designed to run off. Our brains are designed to run off it. Our muscles are designed to run off it. Get the carbs in and you'll have the energy mentally and physically. So number 5, guys, 5th benefit of the vegan diet, no more cravings. So before I went vegan, I used to get cravings all the time, and what would happen is, in the afternoon in work, I noticed I'd end up having to go to the coffee machine, getting these coffees, these smooth mochas, getting the caffeine. I'd sometimes have to go down to the staff room, to the vending machine. I'd have to get Kit Kats and chocolates because I needed sugar desperately, because my body was so undercarbed. And what you need to realize if you're watching this is your cravings are determined by what's going on in your body. If you are depriving yourself of nutrients, if you're depriving yourself of carbohydrates, it will have an effect up here mentally. And what will happen is your body will say to your brain, I need carbs, I need energy, I need sugar, and your brain is then going to make you crave those things, and you're going to seek them out. And one of the benefits I've noticed since I've gone vegan is don't have them anymore. And the only time I do have them is if I've been silly and I haven't eaten enough carbs that day, or if I have forgotten to eat. I never get these cravings anymore because my body is constantly fueled, has constant fuel supply, so it has no reason to send these cravings up to my brain. So if you're struggling with cravings, guys, get the carbs in, they'll go away. Another thing to watch out for is coffee. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like coffee. I think the reason why I don't like coffee is this: it basically masks the symptoms of you being undercarbed. Most people, when they drink coffee, it's because they have a craving. It's that craving which determines, which basically dictates that they will make a decision to go and drink coffee. No one logically, I think, makes the decision to drink coffee without there being the influence of a craving upon them. It's basically what I'm trying to say there is, if you know, if you're getting cravings for coffee, you want to ask yourself why. And why I'm going to suggest to you is this: is if you're getting cravings for coffee, it's most likely this, because you're not having enough carbs. When you have coffee, what happens is it helps dilate the arteries, it increases blood flow, increases oxygen uptake to the muscles and the brain, and that's why when you have coffee you feel like you're buzzing. When you're tired, you want to stay awake, you have some coffee, and that's basically why it helps you. But you know, coffee and caffeine isn't sustainable. You know, you can't live off drugs, and that's what you're basically doing when you're relying on coffee and caffeine. You're relying on drugs to, you know, keep you going. That isn't how you're designed to live. You were designed to run and function off carbohydrates. That is what you need. That is your fuel source. You know, I would only ever use caffeine in emergency situations, and I'd always use it consciously. So for example, in May I did a charity bike ride and did 105 miles for charity, and about 80 miles in my blood sugars went low. I was an absolute mess because I didn't actually eat enough food going in, and I think I might have overdone my insulin, and I've never done anything that big before on my own. Well, I was not on my own, with other people, sorry, but my blood sugars were going low and I was starting to drop behind, and eventually I got to like a station, and I made a conscious decision, right, I need coffee to do the last, you know, 15 miles or so, because my blood sugars had gone low. It was hard for me to try and eat enough food to, you know, get my sugar back up, because you know, it done a real number on me. When at the time when my blood sugars were low, I think I was kind of conscious and aware of it, but I couldn't stop, because if I stopped I would have, you know, got dropped, and I wouldn't have been able to keep up with everyone. So I had to just sort of you know, harden up, as Harley says, and just get it done no matter what. Probably wasn't that wise or safe, to be honest, looking back on it. So I hope that one was useful, guys. So remember, if you be wary of coffee, only ever use it consciously in an emergency situation where you need that energy to, you know, that last buzz to, you know, keep you going. Day to day, don't use it. Rely on carbs. Okay then. Number 6, my resting heart rate dropped. So before I went vegan, my heart rate used to be in the sort of the 60 to 70 range, and I remember that because I used to wear a heart rate monitor one stage when I was going to the gym. Now my resting heart rate is now in the 50 to 60 range. So it averages about 55 beats a minute, 56 beats a minute when I'm resting. That's if I'm not angry from reading paleo and keto, low carb Atkins style articles online. And the reason why that probably happened there, guys, is for a number of reasons. You know, when you eat a vegan diet, plant-based diet, your body can immediately begin to clear out all the plaque and, you know, fat and cholesterol that builds up in your arteries. And what happens is that then alleviates, you know, blood pressure, the pressure in your arteries, allows blood to flow through your body better, and basically your heart can then start to beat less, do less work, because it doesn't have all of this junk, you know, in your arteries to, you know, impede blood flow. In addition to that, the heart itself becomes healthier, and I think it's also a case that you're no longer putting these, you know, cancerous, toxic chemicals and animal products in your body. Whenever you cause damage to your body needs to repair it, which means that your heart is going to have to beat a little bit quicker in the background, because your metabolism is higher. The more work your body does, the more your heart has to beat, even if it's just a few beats, you know, to facilitate that, you know, to get the oxygen to those cells that are working more, that are repairing damage. So when you go vegan, you stop damaging your body, you allow your body to heal and flush out, and your heart rate will come down. Number 7, guys, my blood pressure dropped. So when I went vegan, well, I think before I went vegan, because I did have a test in the hospital, it was definitely above 120 over 80, and I bought a little testing kit, a Omron, or Omron, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, a little heart rate monitor and blood rate monitor. You just strap it around your arm like that, and it does your blood pressure and your heart rate. So when I started testing myself consistently, I don't test myself as much anymore, but I was getting, you know, good readings of about 120 over 60. One of the benefits of doing that is if you go to the hospital and you get your blood pressure done, often the very act of you going to get that done raises your blood pressure because you can be nervous. So when you're nervous and you're tense, perhaps you've got a bit more cortisol going around in your blood, your heart rate and your blood pressure can start to go up. So if you do it at home when it's just you can be less nervous, and you can get more accurate readings. What I would say is, don't ever take one reading seriously. Do a good couple, over a period of time to get an average. So number 8, guys, and this is probably one of my most favourite benefits of a vegan diet, and it's sun protection. So to give you a bit of background, before I went vegan, I was the kind of person who would go out in the sun, and I could be outside for 15-20 minutes and I'd start to get burnt. And when I did go out in the sun, even if I got, say, a little bit of a tan, what would happen is I would invariably peel. I remember once I drove from where I lived to the north of where I live, and I was talking about a 15-mile drive, and it probably took me 10-15 minutes, and the sun was on my right, and I noticed my right arm starting to get burned in the sun just from sitting there driving. And this year, and this is when I noticed it, is in August. So I was in August, like I said earlier on, I did 800 miles of cycling, and I didn't get sunburn. I noticed that I could feel like you could definitely tell from the sensation that the sun had been on my legs, but it wasn't like a burnt sensation. I did that much cycling. I was out in the sun all day, and I started to look like Chris Froome. In terms of the tan lines, you can't quite see it now because I haven't been out so long, but from about here down to there it was just completely brown, whereas before then I'd always been quite a pale person. I've still got a little bit of it, the tan now, but starting to go. And I started to get extremely brown along here, but every time in my life that had ever happened, what would have happened afterwards is the skin would have started to go red, it would have started to get sore, and it would start to peel and fall off. That never happened to me. And when I look back on it, I'd never had any sort of skin peel because of sunburn or being out in the sun once this year. And this year I've probably been out in the sun more than I'd ever been, because Harley got me into cycling. So what I'd say is, if any of you who are watching this, perhaps you're pale, perhaps you're ginger, perhaps you have issues with the sun, getting sunburnt, go vegan. It will definitely give you some protection. And so why does that happen? Well, basically there's something called beta carotene, and it's something that you find a lot in sweet potatoes, orange and yellow vegetables and greens. Basically, it's something you'll find in abundance in a plant-based diet if you go vegan. And what happens is, I think it helps with the pigmentation, the melanin in your skin, and it basically helps you ward off UV rays. It helps your skin stay healthier, and it basically helps facilitate that protection against the sun. What I would say is, if you're watching this, don't think that you can just go vegan, walk out into the Sahara Desert or the Mojave Desert, in the peak of the day, butt naked. And if you do that, that is unwise. What I'm saying is, if you go out sensibly dressed in like shorts, a t-shirt or some kind of summer cycling clothing, what you will notice is less sunburn. What you could do is, for next year, I know this is a bit early, but something to think about is, when you get to about February, March time, it starts getting bright, perhaps get out in the sun a bit more, build up to it and see how you get on. I personally don't like using sunscreen because of all of the chemicals in it. You don't quite know what's in it. You ask yourself, do you want your skin really having that absorbed? And the other option to that, guys, is you can use physical barriers. Instead of using like a sunscreen, you can just have like arm warmers, or white arm warmers, or leg warmers, or solar covers if you're out cycling, to cover your arms and your legs and keep them out of the sun if you're worried. So I hope that was useful, guys. Next one, number 9, mental clarity. So before I went vegan, when you're constantly on these low carb diets, you get this insane mental fog. You can't function properly because your brain is designed to run on sugar. If you're not having enough sugar, your brain's not going to work properly. And one of the things I noticed is just so much more mental clarity. I can think more clearly. I can focus more. I can focus for longer. I can have more passion and drive. for different things. And it's definitely the high carb diet. And on the other side of it is, when you eat these high fat diets, what happens is, the reason why it clogs your or impede your mental clarity is that it reduces oxygen uptake to your brain. So for those of you who ever been to a pub lunch or a restaurant and you've eaten like a high fat meal, like I don't know, a lasagna or some kind of steaks, if you ever find yourself feeling tired afterwards, it ain't the carbs, it's the fat. So what happens is, when you eat these high fat meals, the fat gets into your blood, and it can almost literally bind blood cells together, and it can reduce the oxygen uptake to your muscles, and especially your brain. So that's why you feel tired and you have to go for a lie down. I can eat 1200 calories right now if I wanted to, would not feel tired afterwards. Why? Because I eat low fat diets do not cause you to be tired like they will do a high fat. So if you want mental clarity or increased mental clarity, go vegan. So number 10, guys, bowel movements. So if any of you are watching this and you have bad bowel movements, sloppy poos, or you get constipated, you don't poo often, go vegan. Vegans have the best bowel movements of any food group. Dr. Greger has got an excellent video on this over at nutritionfacts.org. I'll post a link in the description. If I forget, let me know in the comments below, just in case I forget. And basically, when you eat a plant-based diet, high carb vegan diet, you have so much fiber in your diet. So what is fiber? Fiber, well, think of fiber as what the skeleton is to the human body. Fiber is to plants. That's the easiest way to look at it. So when you take fiber into your body, it can't actually be absorbed. What happens is, when the fiber is in your stomach, what happens is different vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients that are attached to the fiber get taken away. The fiber remains. The fiber then will attach to any cancerous mutagenics that or carcinogens that are in your bowels. So perhaps then it's something you've ingested, it could be something that your body is depositing back into your bowels, or into your gut to get rid of. And basically fiber helps flush all of that rubbish out. But also what it helps you to do is, it helps you to get to basically make poo. When you don't have enough fiber in your diet, what happens is there's nothing there to really bind it together. So what happens is your body has to push against try and push against what's in there, but it can't quite do it. That's why a lot of people who don't have fiber have really bad irritable bowel syndrome. They can't poo properly, they're constipated. I think Dr. Greger in his video, he said something like the majority of New Yorkers have some poo only something like once every 4 or 5 days. That's crazy. You should be going to the toilet 2 or 3 times a day. You should be, if you're like me, 6'1" and about 180 pounds. How much do I weigh? About 170 pounds or whatever 12.7 stone is. If you kind of like me and you're eating as much as I am, you should be almost producing a pound of in bowel movements every day. If you're not pooing until every 4 days or so, there's something going wrong there. So if any of you watching this and you're getting constipated, or you're not you're having to squeeze really hard, or you're having some kind of issues, get on the plant-based diet. Plenty of fiber in there. It will help your body, gives your body something to push against. It binds everything together. It'll give you nice easy poos that will come out. Bowel movements, probably not a good way of putting it, calling it poos. I never really had much in the way of constipation, I think, in terms of only going every 4 or 5 days. But when I would go to the toilet, sometimes I'd be sitting there for half an hour, sometimes. So it's still technically constipation, but not to the severe degree that other people were. And since then I go to the toilet and just come straight out, because your body has something to push against. And number 11, next benefit of vegan diet, saved money. So one of the biggest things for me is I'd save a lot more cash. A vegan diet, it isn't necessarily expensive. It can be cheap if you want it to be. If you do it smart, it can be cheap. So one of the ways that I save money is, I'm not buying meat anymore. Before I went vegan, well, I'd actually stopped buying meat about a month, about almost a year before I went vegan. And when I say stop buying meat, I mean buy meat to bring home and prepare. I would eat chicken curries from the local supermarket which they prepared, but after watching Forks Over Knives in 2013, I kind of stopped. But one of the things I did notice, I did save money, so I was no longer buying meats and, you know, stuff like that. And I definitely did notice, you know, a benefit from it. Likewise, any kind of animal products. If you look at, say, you know, sirloin steaks where I live, you know, 2 of them could cost you £13, which is roughly about $20 for those of you in America watching. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, with that money, you could go and buy 7 kilos of rice, which would last you a very long time. So that's another way of saving money. Is, you know, rice is extremely cheap relative to meat. You know, dried lima beans, dried kidney beans. If you look around, vegan diets are very cheap. You know, bananas are cheap, apples are cheap, and you can save a lot of cash. And if you've got a family, you can save even more money. So I hope this video has been useful, guys. That is an exhaustive list, you know, of benefits that you could have. These are benefits I've had. You may potentially, you know, benefit from them. You may have these benefits, but you may have other benefits in addition to what I've mentioned. So if you've got heart disease and you're watching this, you're going to reverse your heart disease. If you're someone with cancer who's watching this, you're going to give yourself the best odds of reversing. I know that sounds like quite an extreme thing to say, but, you know, look at the work of Dr. Dino Ornish right now. He's reversing prostate cancer in his patients. You know, if you're suffering from obesity, you know, you'll lose weight long term. If you've got irritable bowel syndrome, you know, you'll sort that out on a vegan diet. If you've got Crohn's disease, like Durin Rider did, you'll reverse that. There are, you know, the benefits to a vegan diet are legion. There's not a single person in the world who would ever suffer as a result of going on a vegan diet. The only way they could potentially suffer is if they went on a vegan diet and they didn't do it properly. And by do it properly, what I mean is they don't eat sufficient calories, they don't eat sufficient carbs, and then they fall off the vegan bandwagon and they just go into the animal products again. So I hope that was useful, guys. I'll just read out my list again of benefits. So the benefits I've had on a vegan diet. So number 1, insulin sensitivity. Number 2, eat as much as I want. Number 3, lose weight while eating as much as I want. Number 4, energy. I've got the energy to go out and do life, live life now. You know, do cycling, do whatever I want, make YouTube videos. Number 5, no more cravings. I've got no more cravings for sweets and sugar and coffee because I have carbs in me, I have the energy. Number 6, my resting heart rate has dropped. Number 7, my blood pressure has dropped. Number 8, I now have some, you know, more protection from the sun. My skin doesn't peel. I can go out in the sun. I'm not going to get burned. I'm not going to get peeled as long as I'm sensible. You know. Number 9, I've got that mental clarity now. You know, I can focus on things. I can, you know, think better. I don't have this insane mental fog. Number 10, my bowel movements, nice, large, easy to pass, no problems. Number 11, save cash, no longer buying dead animals. So I hope that was useful, guys. I thought I'd just go on a bit of a rant there about all the benefits I've had. I hope you found it useful. If any of you watched any of this and it didn't make sense to you, you need to let me know in the comments below so I can tell you why. If I don't want a single person who watches this video who doesn't understand what I'm saying to, you know, leave and go somewhere without asking me why, so I can explain to you first. And to everyone who's watching this who's vegan or going vegan, what benefits do you notice? You know, you may have noticed had benefits that I didn't. You may because of your background, because of your history. So I'd like to hear from you. You know, in the comments below, what experiences have you had? And for any of those who are going vegan, remember, if you're struggling, let me know in the comments below so that me and other vegans online, we can try and help you transition to the high carb vegan lifestyle. I hope this was useful, guys. Until next time, God bless, all the best. Remember, high carb vegan, I don't care who you are, what medical condition you have or don't have, do it. It's the best thing, it's the most scientific thing, it's the most logical thing. Until next time, God bless, all the best, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye now. Before then, because I was undiagnosed with type 1 diabetes for so long, I lost so much weight. So whenever you starve yourself, whether intentionally or unintentionally, you will pile of pounds back on. So, but since then, guys, I've lost about, let me see, about like 18 or 19 pounds, I think. So I was about 14 stone in November 2014, and I now weigh something like 12.7 stone. So that's roughly about 18 or 19 pounds. So by following During Rider's advice, by going high carb, vegan, smashing in the carbs, not being scared of calories, I've actually lost weight. Now then, this is probably the first time in my life where I've ever found a diet where I can eat as much as I want. Sensitivity. So for those of you watching this who are diabetic, whether you're type 1 or type 2, one of the best things you can do to help your condition is go vegan. High carb, plant-based vegan. What it'll do is it will maximize the sensitivity of insulin in your body, because what happens is when you go vegan, you clear out all of the fat that's in your body from the animal products, as well as different chemicals that basically, you know, inhibit and stop insulin from doing its job properly. And as a result of that, what you can do is you can actually cut your insulin by up to 2/3 just by going vegan, because what happens is you become more sensitive and you need less, and what happens is you get less lows, you get less highs, you get better blood sugar control, and you get a better HbA1c while eating more carbs. So if you're watching this and you're diabetic, whether you're type 1 or type 2, never be scared of carbs, never be scared of veganism. Go vegan, you'll notice benefits. I don't care who you are, you will notice it. Number 2, second benefit of eating a vegan diet is I can eat as much as I want now. So before I went vegan, I used to be scared of like food or calories. I'd always think, oh, if I eat too much, I'm going to get fat. Now I'm on a vegan diet, I can eat as much as I want, and I don't have to worry about putting weight on. So when I first went vegan in November 2014, I was about 14 stone, which is about like 190 pounds or so. To be fair, part of that weight was because I'd essentially starved myself. Hi guys, just wanted to do another video. So for those of you who've been following me already, or you've watched my Thank You During Rider video, you've probably got quite a good idea of some of the benefits I've had on a vegan diet. But what I wanted to do is I just wanted to make one video where I'd sort of amalgamate all of them into one video and give you an idea of, you know, how I benefited. And I just tried to write down some ideas on how I have benefited, because I didn't want to just reel them off the top of my head and miss any. So I've got about 11 here so far. What I would say is don't necessarily treat this as a definitive list for me personally, because I'm sure there's probably one or two I've missed. So what I'll do is I'll just start on the first one then. So first benefit from a vegan diet, so insulin sensitivity. On a plant, you know, assuming it's vegan and it's plant-based, I never put weight on. Before then, I've always yo-yoed with my diet, been up, I've been down. Whereas now, I think this is the first time I've ever seen myself lose, you know, weight while never caring about calories. You know, when I eat meals now, I eat so much food, you know, my plate is just piled high, and I just eat till I feel full. And it's amazing. I just lose weight, and this is the only diet I'd say where you can lose weight consistently while eating as much as you want on a vegan diet without having to do loads of exercise. You know, most of my weight I didn't really lose from